Our community connection team consists of social workers working alongside our CIT, our crisis intervention officers, and we run a co-response model, meaning we respond to 911 calls out in the community that are mental health, substance use, suicide, any social issue problem related out in the community as first responders.
Is this something that's new or novel in policing?
We're actually a BJA, Bureau of Justice Association learning site. So other police departments reach out to us to kind of ask information of like how we are created, what we do now, what are our policies. And so it's still a new age thing, but you will see more police departments looking at programs like this, especially right now with all the discussion around police departments and reform. A lot of people are exploring adding social workers to their teams.
What does that look like for residents in Salt Lake City that might be in some sort of crisis or need one of those social interventions? What does that look like for them on the street?
Like I said, we are a co-responder model. So there will be a call, you call 911 and it goes through dispatch. If that is, I am in immediate crisis or my friend is in immediate crisis, mental health, substance use, homelessness, we call 911, dispatch airs that over the radio, and then our team will pick it up. We hear what the description is. We're like, that's a call that we should be at. It may not say mental health directly based off the details. So it's really important when people call 911 to be very specific and very detailed. It goes a long ways for us because as the details are aired, then we're like, oh, I think this involves mental health. And so that's when we will call out and we will show up on scene. And when I say we, that is a social worker and an officer. Sometimes you'll have two social workers and an officer together. And we'll show up in a police car. Officers will be in uniform. Our social workers will have ballistic vest on, just for safety measures. And then you can expect to be talking to the social worker and the officer. If you don't want to speak with the officer and if the scene is safe and secure, they're more than willing to step aside just for us to have a conversation, or vice versa. If you just want to talk to the officer and not the social worker, you can choose that too. So yeah, we'll show up on scene together and try and figure out a solution to what your crisis is that day.
What's the benefit to city residents, or what's the benefit to policing to incorporate this model?
Yeah, so the benefits, at least in my perspective, the benefits are definitely cost savings. We are able to save the city a lot of dollars on crisis response. And what I mean by that is that you may have someone call 911 20 times a day. They may call 911 because they believe that their neighbor is spying on them. And police show up, they find out nothing's happening, but officers respond 20 times in a day and nothing is really resolved. In that situation, our team can go out, we can figure out what this person needs. They're afraid of their safety. We can work on that. Or if maybe they need their medications, they've came off their medications, we can help transport them, get their medications, or alert their therapist that they're having a really bad day. And so the benefit is definitely connecting the services. Many times officers are very busy with calls that they have to jump call to call. And they don't really have the time to figure out. And I mean, they shouldn't have to be the ones figuring out housing, medication, family supports. And so for us, we figure out that long-term solution in hopes that they don't keep intersecting with police.
What other duties do your social workers have across the department?
Other duties our social workers have across the department, anything and everything, honestly. But big one is our co-response. Another one may be we've gone out with people who may have been sex trafficked. So working with our vice unit and helping people who may have been sex trafficked get connected to services. And then also if we work closely with our data unit. And so if they see someone who may have high contacts with 911 over and over again, and they see they may have some mental health happening, our data unit may reach out to us and say, hey, I'm not sure if this person's on your radar. Can you help them out there? We also will help out with missing individuals. We try and help locate if someone has Alzheimer's or autism or any other situation where, they may be missing and we want to try and locate them. We try and help out the family and also that person who's missing to see how we can resolve that situation. So we're used in a lot of places. We're also used, like I mentioned, the hostage negotiation team. Where we can provide more information or we can help out with talking with an individual in crisis. But the nice thing about our position is that we can be flexible. We can be used in creative ways because we are a part of the police department and also part of the city that we can help out in multiple areas.
If I'm a resident and I see someone in some sort of mental distress, and my first instinct might not be to call the police or not want a standard police response, how do I deal? What do I tell dispatch to help them figure out how to make sure you get to that call?
Yeah, so what you can tell dispatch, so if you don't want like what you'd expect the regular police response to be, you can ask dispatch to request social workers. And just one thing to know that you still will get an officer show up on scene. That is our protocol of responding 911 calls. So you'll get a social worker and an officer respond on scene, depending on their availability. So you can request a social worker. They may be tied up on another call, but you can definitely request that. And then dispatch will let us know, and we'll do our best to go out there and respond. We definitely have a lot of people who request us, especially when trying to connect people to services that they realize they need more help than just a typical officer response.
For people who want to learn more about what you do and keep up with and contact you, where do they go for that?
So we have a website through Salt Lake City Police Department Community Connection Team. And then also our phone number is 801-799-3533. And that's the best number to contact us to request services, request information, or try and set up an appointment with a case manager or a therapist.